Thursday Night Tailgate, where the spotlight is always on the positive. Tune in Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time to hear your favorite NFL legends, players, and coaches sharing their stories. Now back to Chris and Bob.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.
All right, now joining us on the Kyvan Foods guest line is Boston Red Sox legend and a great friend of the show, Rico Petrocelli. Here, let me remind you a little bit about Rico's background. He's from Brooklyn, New York. He was signed as an amateur free agent by the Boston Red Sox in July of 1961, made his major league debut in September of 1963, played his entire career with the Red Sox, last playing in 1976. He was a member of the Red Sox Impossible Dream Team in 1967, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and he also played in their World Series team of 1975. He was selected to the AL All-Star team twice in 1967 and 1969. In that 69 season, he finished 7th in the MVP voting, batting .297 with 40 home runs and 97 RBIs. And like I mentioned, he's been a wonderful friend of the show over the years, and we're honored he is back with us again tonight here on Thursday Night Tailgate. Hey, Rico, Chris, and Bob, thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hey, guys, how are you? It's great to be on with you again. I'll tell you, speaking of that golf, I could use that couple of lessons from that golf club in Indiana I played today, and geez, a couple of good holes, though, you know, but I love to play golf now, especially since I've been retired.
So Rico, catch us up a little bit. I know it's been a busy summer for you with the reunion of the 67 team. What's been going on this year?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been doing a lot for the Red Sox. Not on the field, but they get calls from either their sponsors or other companies, you know, and they're looking for speakers, they're looking for grand openings, sign autographs, all that type of stuff. So the Red Sox call us, the former players who are in the area, if we'd like to do it, you know, and it's a paying opportunity. And so they've been terrific. They've called me a lot for the last couple of years. And in all honesty, when the team is doing well, you know, people want to have a player, a former player, you know, and to sign autographs or do something with the organization. I got a couple of speaking programs that I use and kind of compare a little bit about sports in the business world, stuff like that. So, you know, and I also help my son with his marketing company, and I'm involved in a few other things too. And so I'm keeping busy. It's great. Plus 9 grandkids. And so they keep us very, very busy.
No doubt. So, Rico, I want to get your thoughts as we look at, you know, this year's Red Sox team. You know, one area of concern is the sharp decline in the home runs that they're hitting now in the post-David Ortiz era, dead last in the American League right now. Should we Red Sox fans, should we be concerned as we look ahead to the postseason that, you know, if their bats go cold like they did last year in the postseason, that they could get swept again?
Well, anything's possible, but you know, since the All-Star break, they've been hitting a lot of home runs, and they've gotten some real key clutch home runs from a number of the players. So at this point, you know, I don't know if we can complain too much. Everybody's concerned that they're not going to do it in the postseason. Now, the difference is this year that, you know, these guys have some experience now with postseason play, you know, like Betts and the outfield, especially Bogarts. And, of course, Ramirez is a veteran, and Vasquez and Leon, two very good catchers. And Moreland's a veteran, you know. So, and the pitching staff is pretty much, you know, the starting staff. So, I wouldn't go by last year. You know, last year was just a year, I think, I really believe this, that, you know, with all the celebration for David Ortiz, which lasted a couple of weeks, you know, I think it exhausted the whole team. I think they were, and I've seen that before, where, you know, that's gone on, and it just that so much activities going on with a particular player retiring, and it affects the whole team. That's my opinion. It's not an excuse, Don't forget, Cleveland pitched very well against the Red Sox. Not just Kluber, but the other pitchers as well. And then they had, with Miller and Allen, and they got a pretty good staff. But I think this year is a little different. I would be very surprised. I don't know who they're going to play the first round, but if and when they have to play Cleveland, I think they have a good shot at it.
Bob, questions for Rico?
Rico, it's great to hear your voice as always, and I got to talk to you, Rico. I was watching. It's something that's in the news today. I was watching the Yankees Tigers game today, Rico, and
I heard about it.
Seems like I'm hearing so much more of this, and we're reading about it the next day, Rico, about beanball wars, and to me, it's not even beanball wars, and like it used to be. It's just so childish, Rico. I mean, today we had 8 guys were thrown out of the game. It was almost a 4.5 hour, 9-inning game. Again, it seemed like the Yankees is probably headed for the postseason, and they're risking suspensions now to hurt their chances possibly. One guy got hit in the head for the Tigers. I mean, it just kept going back and forth. It was crazy, Rico. But I'm saying to myself, back in your day, you had little brushbacks and things like that, but it seemed like guys could police themselves totally different than these guys. Now it's like, I'm going to get you, then I'm going to get you, and I'm going to get you, and I'm going to have the last say. I just wanted to get your opinion about this. To me, it's so dangerous, but childish, and it just grates on my nerves, Rico.
Yeah, it is aggravating. You don't want to ever see a guy get hit in the head. I got hit in the head 3 times. And one of them was a retaliation, and I just never saw the ball. And so I couldn't move. I lost the ball in a glare in center field. The other 2 times weren't too bad because it was more on the top of the helmet. And then a number of times, you get thrown at, you get hit in the ribs or the rear end or the elbow. That's miserable. But you don't have to throw it at somebody's head. There's no doubt about it. You can throw, if you're going to throw at a guy. Let's say somebody throws at your guy and he brushes him back and he comes close, and the batter goes down. Well, you can retaliate and hit the guy in the back, So if that happens and the umpire doesn't say anything, then the other club's going to come back. Doesn't have to throw at his head. He could throw again at his legs, his ribs even. And, it's obviously not as dangerous, but, it's been going on since baseball first started. I mean, probably in the 1800s, even though I wasn't around then, but, and it's very dangerous now. I don't blame them. I don't like to see it. I don't mind the guy pitching in, but there's no reason to throw at a guy's head. Yeah, I think you're right about the Yankees, because I think the Yankees would be very dangerous in a playoff spot if they get healthy, and if their pitching is decent. Again, you starters really until, you might in a 7-game series want to use 4, but you still can use 3 and get away with it. So, I mean, they're hurting that. They'd be dangerous. I would be concerned about the Yankees playing the Red Sox if they had to, or any other team, because they're a club that can get hot all of a sudden and just bang the ball all over the place and have decent pitching. And if the bullpen, all of a sudden comes around, because the playoffs are a little different. I'm telling you, there's just it's a little different. It's a little, more intense than the season. A lot more intense than the regular season game.
Rico, as we've talked about both on the radio and TV side in the past, you were one of the few shortstops to hit 40 home runs in a season in 69, and that was after hitting just 12 the year before. You had really good years, 70 and 71, 29, 28. But to go from 12 to 40 home runs, Rico, if that was 1988 as opposed to 68, people say he's got to be taking something. But you and I have talked to it before. It seemed like you just really blossomed as a hitter. But what else happened, Rico, to let you to get that kind of power? And of course, your average. You were almost a 300 hitter that year, also.
Yeah. Well, in '68, I had arm problems, and so I didn't play a full year. I think in '67, I hit 17 home runs or something like that. So I was starting to hit some more home runs, and then the winter of '68 and '69, I gained about 20 pounds of not fat, but I was working out. We couldn't lift weights. They didn't want us to lift weights, and so we did all the chin-ups and all those other type of exercises. And I think just from my genes, my brothers, 4 brothers, they too around that age really developed, physically. And I think that's what happened with me. And going into spring training, I said, you know what, I'm just going to go out there, give my best. I have a bad day, I'm going to come back and just, forget about the bad day. And the ball just seemed like a grapefruit to me. I hit everything and with power. And so, yeah, for 3 or 4 years there, I was hitting home runs, and that's one of the reasons why they moved me to. But after that, the home runs went down, and it happens in a lot of guys' careers. If you look at most guys, with the exception of the real superstar, Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, Mantle, and all those guys, there's exceptions. So it's almost every year for them. Just have outstanding ability. And but most other players, that have 3, 4, 5 good years, let's say, out of a 13 or 15 year career. So it doesn't happen every year for most guys. You hit your peak, and then, you start coming down a little bit. But those years, no, I would never take anything. I was too afraid. I was always afraid of my health, later on. How's it going to affect me later on? But we really didn't have anything available. There were some amphetamines or diet pills that guys, if they wanted it was a doubleheader, they could take. But you know what? You can drink a couple of cups of coffee. It does the same thing. Gets you up a little bit. Then you can't get to sleep. So you got to drink hot milk or something like that. I don't know.
Rico, just a couple more before we let you go. Wanted to get your assessment of Rafael Devers. What are your thoughts on what you've seen from him so far?
Well, I was a little concerned about the Red Sox bring up, a rookie in a pennant race. I know they did it with Bogarts, and it worked out. And so we didn't know what to expect from him, from the Devers. But he's turned out he's got a quick bat, and this kid's strong. When you watch his swing, he puts not only his arms, but he's got those shoulders and the legs behind the swing. And that's why his ball carries so much. He's a strong kid. And, he got up to a great start. Now they start pitching him a little different, and then he has some bad days, but it looks like he's going to be a good one. Third base, so far, so good there. He's the type of guy where you can always move to first base. I mean, if all of a sudden you have another prospect in the minor leagues as a third baseman. So, no, this kid's a good-looking player. Runs pretty good too, and I think he sparked this team. I think he turned out to be the guy that everybody was talking about. If we only had a guy that was a home run hitter and could knock in runs, we need that. And well, he's done that. He's done that since he's come up, and so that's probably the reason why they haven't gone out and tried to get that type of Encarnacion guy. Besides wanting to stay under the cap, the luxury tax, but still, no. Right now, it's working out, and it's great. Look at the guys that are filling in. Nunez has done a terrific job. Now, I mean, Pedroia's been out, Price has been out, now Bradley, Barnes, they're all on the disabled list, and these guys are still coming through. I mean, hey, it's a good sign, but you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs, in the postseason. Just it's almost impossible, to.
So, Rico, before we let you go, let our listeners know, how can they stay up to date with Rico Petrocelli and all the great things that you're doing? How can they follow you?
Well, I got a website, ricopetrocelli.com. And it's, we got a book out, a new book, the 67 team, myself and former sports writer Chaz Scoggins wrote. And I've been going around doing some book signings, and you can get the book on on the website as well. And that's pretty much, the best way if you want to. I write some blogs and stuff like that, and you can get in touch with me through that website too. So I'll get back to you. Whoever does, whoever wants to talk Red Sox or talk baseball. So it's great. Yeah, it's fun. I love it. So I love.
Well, it's always
you guys too. You got a good show.
Thank you, Rico. It's always a privilege for Bob and I to get to spend some time with you. Thank you for your time tonight, and hopefully we get to catch up with you again during the postseason.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to do that, and thanks for having me on, guys. Take care.
All right, take care, Rico.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
That is Red Sox legend Rico Petrocelli, and boy, Bob, he has been fantastic to us over the years, and it's always great getting his insights. Love having Rico on the show.
I think we've talked to him, Chris, maybe 12 times, a dozen times on both the TV and radio side, and very accommodating. And between him being with the Ties in Boston and his kind of career, we never have a shortage of conversation material. We love the guy. Great man.
Absolutely he is. All right, folks, we've got our next guest, Tony Collins, hanging on the line. We'll get to Tony after this brief station break.